Hello and welcome to Old Lady Plays. I'm Kate, the old lady, and this is something different. So, ObliqueKickGaming, a fine gentleman and somebody I am very much respectful of, has decided to start and run a creators community draft league. In that league, I am one of the managers, and the way it's going to run is we've all picked our players, we've drafted our teams, as you can see, mine's here, and having drafted the players, we'll now be entering them. He's now making a league for them, and we will play them week by week with him selecting a game of the week and, commentating that, but also passing out the save file to each of the creators in the group so that we can do things like make highlight packages or do whatever we want with them, basically. So I'm really excited by this. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I think it'll be really great. The team that I've picked, I reasoned that we were all, with 16 people picking, we had 288 players to pick, 18 each team. All right, we've only got an 18-man squad. And I thought, I've been through a lot of draft leagues in various sports, honestly, and it's one thing when you're picking in, say, the NHL, where you're picking from, the best 700 players in the world, and in this case, you're picking 288 of them, so you're picking, 40% of the players in the NHL. In this case, however, we're talking about the entire world, which means we've got, 300,000 players to pick from. And we're only picking the top 288, which means we're picking the top 0.1% of players. That means we're all going to have superstar teams. And we do. Well, not quite. A couple of players decided to go more for sentiment and went with large numbers of players from their favorite team. So there'll be a couple of creators like that. But in general, we've all got teams of superstars. So how do I gain an edge? How do I make sure that my team at the end of the season is the winner? The only thing I could think of, and it's not going to surprise anybody who watches this channel, was dynamics. I thought, maybe if I can find a way to pick so that they've got good dynamics from the start, they will be able to gel more quickly, and thus will get off to a good start in the season and hopefully be able to hold that lead and take and so on. So that's what I did, and when I was doing this, I thought, well, what can I scout on to improve their dynamics? And so what I scouted on were two things. One, that they all be within age between 19 and 27, which I almost made. I have one 18-year-old and one 28-year-old, but in both cases only barely. And it's they all speak Spanish, at least good or better. They have good Spanish or better, every one of them. And I figured if they're close in age and they all speak the same language, short of picking a team that has all the same nationality, that's all the factors that I could think of that I could control, that I could scout for. So I fired up a save with Barcelona, mostly because they have one of the best scouting systems in the world, and being based in Spain, of course, they'd have a very strong knowledge of Spanish players. So I fired that up. I set up various filters to search for players, and this is the group that I came up with. And most of these were my first picks at their position, so I'm fairly pleased with this. There's a couple of second picks in here, but for the most part, they're my first picks at their positions. So I'm going to go through and introduce you to the team, show you what their screens look like and so on, and then we're going to talk briefly about the tactics, and that's going to be it for today. I just wanted to introduce the team to you, and let you know there are 14 other creators. One person isn't actually a creator at the moment, but 14 other creators in this, mostly YouTubers, a couple of Twitch streamers, a couple of bloggers. By all means, please, I will try and put links to all of their creations in my description here. Please check them out and sub to them, and they're a terrific bunch. I've really enjoyed drafting and chatting with them over the last week, and I really hope you enjoy spending time with them. So without further ado, I'm going to go on and start doing the introduction of the players. So let's go over here to the game where I have set things up so that I can look at the players. Let's have a look. Jan Oblak. In goal, the Slovenian 26-year-old from Atletico Madrid. He is a brilliant goalkeeper. I'm very happy with him. The Barcelona scouts have him rated 84. That's really nice. Almost every number is at least 15. That's just crazy good. 18 reflexes, 18 handling, one-on-ones. His concentration is high, composure is high, decisions is high, positions are high. You know, the weakest thing in his game is his anticipation of 11. That's a pretty small weakness. So yeah, really great. He's ambitious. He's a world-class goalkeeper. He also, if I really want him to, can take free kicks. I don't think on this team that's going to be a problem, but if I were taking others, if I were, thinking about others, another team, and I had him on it, I'd really be thinking about having him take the free kicks because he can really hit the ball. Technique of 11, which for a goalkeeper is outrageous, but a 16 free kick taking, that's pretty impressive. I want to quickly look at the scout report because there's an important thing going to happen as you read through these scout reports and coaching reports. Here we are. Has a full understanding of the language. Hurrah! Here, important matches. Relishes big matches and consistent performer. Okay, remember those two. And now let's have a look at on the left side, Firpo. Junior Firpo. Junior maybe. Junior Firpo. Only rated at 3 stars by Barcelona, or 2.5, but I think he's a quite good fullback. He does the job. He can defend. He can attack. He's got great anticipation, some good mentals, determination and work rate are high. Off the ball is high. He can go all day. He can dribble the ball. Not super, but he can dribble the ball, and he's got the balance and the agility to do it. So I think he's a really solid left back. I'm very happy with him. And this guy does not have any big match or consistency markings. Personality, balanced. Okay, so he's a sheep. Balanced players are basically sheep in the team. They'll follow the rest of the team around. So that's not bad. We have a couple of balanced players. I'm okay with that. The next player I want to look at is Clément Lenglet, Barcelona centre back, 24 years old, French, but speaks Spanish perfectly. And as you can see, he's got some great stats. Just a solid player, a perfectionist, which is a great personality to have at the club. He will strive hard to be as good as he possibly can on everything, and that is really useful. So let's quickly check his reports. And oh look, enjoys big matches and fairly consistent. Well, that's nice. And we want the other center back, who is Jose Jimenez of Uruguay. And he again, an elite center back, a perfectionist, and great numbers. Right, just great numbers up and down. No real weaknesses in his game. I'm really happy with him. He's not a hugely effective ball-playing defender, maybe, His first touch, technique, passing, vision, all around 12, 11. That's okay. That's not too bad. And oh, look, enjoys big matches, fairly consistent performer. Well, well, well. And on the right, we have Johnny from Wolverhampton Wanderers. I know, strange place to go looking for one of the top players in the world, but there you go. He is an attacking fullback on the right side, but he can play on both sides, which is very nice, and fill in at center back if needed. He's not the biggest fella in the world, and he ain't jumping very high or heading very well, so I'm not going to want to play him at center back very much. Of course, we don't get to pick the teams. The way the league is working is that the assistant managers will pick the teams and the managers will holiday through the game. So it's going to be interesting to see how our assistant managers interpret our tactics and our ideas and the team that we've put together, and see how they put them together to try and win the league. So it's going to be interesting. Anyway, so a solid right back. Overview, I want scout report. There we go. And oh, hello, enjoys big matches and consistent performer. Well, that's just handy, isn't it? And I want to say here, I did not pick for enjoys big matches or consistency. You can't really. It's not something you can scout for. So I just got lucky in that most of my team enjoys big matches and is consistent. I really like that combination. It's enormously useful. All right, now for my two midfielders, or the two that I intend to make midfielders, with his 20 work rate, 17 flair, 17 off the ball. He can dribble like a dream. I mean, 19 agility, 18 balance, 18 dribbling. That's amazing. 18 technique. The only thing he doesn't have is size. He's not a strong or a large fella, but he is a model citizen, which is brilliant. If his leadership was about 2 or 3 higher, he'd be my captain for sure. He might be the vice captain, just because having a model citizen is enormously useful. Oh, he relishes big matches and he's a consistent performer. Hurrah! Mateo Kovacic, the other midfielder. If we are lacking something in this team, all right, and I will recognize and admit to this, it's we don't really have any midfield steel. Kovacic is resolute. He's a decent defender. He's aggressive and brave and so on. But he's not a ball winner. He's not, that's just not his thing. It's the last thing on his list. So he can play defensive midfielder, but generally speaking, all of the roles that he likes are the playmaking roles: deep lying, regista, roaming playmaker, segundo volante. So I'm hoping we get to play him in center mid, probably as the playmaker. I don't know, we'll see, and then leave Bernardo Silva on center mid attack, something like that. We'll see. That's going to be interesting to see how they fall out. And Kovacic. How do you feel about big games, mate? You don't care one way or the other. Good. Okay. And let's go back to the thing. And let's look at the right side first. That'll be your Paulo Dybala spot. I know he's actually like a striker, but I'm hoping to play him at right wing. We'll see whether or not my assistant has the brains to do that or not, but I'm hoping to play him at right wing. So Paulo Dybala needs no real introduction. You all know who Paulo Dybala is. Technique 19. Very, very sexy. Scout report says does not enjoy big matches. He's the only one. He is a consistent performer, but he doesn't enjoy big matches. That is a downside. I absolutely agree. It's a downside. But otherwise, he's an amazing player, and I'm very happy to have picked him first. All right, so there we go. In the center, Luis Alberto, an underrated player, I think. An unpredictable attacking midfielder. He is resolute. meaning quite determined somewhat, and there's another aspect to it, but I can't remember. I think it means he's got reasonable ambition or something. Anyway, he's our corner taker, obviously. First touch, amazing. Passing, technique, vision, off the ball, flair. If I don't have a playmaker in midfield, then I definitely have a playmaker in attacking midfield. But he also can play attacking midfielder. It could be an engage. That might actually be a good role for him. Let's see how he looks in the scout report. Not much there. He's an intelligent player. That's useful. I'm looking forward to seeing how he does. I think he's going to be a surprise to people. Left-sided, we have James Rodriguez. Again, not the fastest dude in the world, but an elite attacking midfielder. He is ambitious, amazing vision 19, flair 18, composure 18. Just, I mean, first touch 19, technique 18. He's just, wow, so skilled, so skilled. And the problem with James is his work rate. That is a little bit down from where you'd like it to be, but I'm willing to take a risk with him. So I think he's going to do some really good things for us. Scout report. Nothing on that one. Okay, that leaves Diogo Jota up front. Theoretically, I want him up here. They want him out here. We'll see. He's pacey, perfectionist striker, runs with ball often. He's quite good at dribbling, which is nice. He's just a solid all-around player, and I think he will make a good point of the spear. He's got some great numbers for a striker. About the only thing is decisions, but I'm not too worried about that. His teamwork isn't great, but I don't really care much about teamwork in a striker, so assuming we can get him to play striker, I think he'll be really useful that way. And as you can see, he relishes big matches and is a fairly consistent performer. So that's the first 11. Now, on the bench, we have Pau Lopez, who is a solid backup goalkeeper for us. Contracted AS Roma, the 24-year-old Spaniard. Has pretty much everything I like in a goalkeeper. Great anticipation, just solid numbers all around. Passing is good, so when he distributes the ball, he's going to do a good job of it. Fairly professional, so not a hugely, exciting player overall, but he'll make a fine backup. I'm happy with that. And I wonder, does he like big games? Does he like big games? He does not. He doesn't say one way or the other. Okay, Sime Versalco. All the injuries are going to be removed before we start playing, so don't worry about that. Here he is again, a solid backup, can play both sides, perfectionist, happy with that. He's got some pace, he can cross the ball, he can also play defense quite reasonably well. He can even head the ball, 13 and 12, so he can do a fair bit. It's nice to have another Atletico player in the side, and I think he's going to be a real asset to us in terms of giving us a backup at fullback. And Diego Carlos, a Brazilian playing for Sevilla. Not an outstanding center back, but a solid center back, and I'm happy with him. I think he'll do a good job filling in at center back as needed, and I believe... Don't keep doing that, Katie. No, he doesn't have any big game excitement either. All right, in the midfield, we have Mikel Merino from Real Sociedad. Just a solid midfielder, great energy, natural fitness and stamina really high, determination off the ball, work rate. teamwork vision. He's just a good, solid backup midfielder. So he'll be he can play basically any of the roles that we might need in the midfield. Ball-winning midfielder, about the only one. Again, as I said, this team is a little short on steel in the midfield. That's absolutely something I'm going to say hands up, and that's my fault. I didn't consider it as much as I should have when I was putting the team together, and so it's one area where we're a little light. Rodrigo can cover both wings, so I think he's going to make a useful backup, fairly professional, lots of good numbers, not fully grown yet, but I think he'll be a useful player as a backup. Quite versatile. And nothing's particular else about him. We also have, there's one more, but I'll go with Paco Alcacer right now. He's our backup striker. Professional striker, not hugely fast, but great off the ball, determination, composure, anticipation, finishing, first touch, heading, technique. He is a pure poacher. All right, he will bag goals for fun. I think he just needs to be needs to be given the game time to get it to make it happen. So let's see whether he can do that. And last but never least, Joaquin Correa, a Lazio playing Argentinian, 24 years old, and again, lots of flair off the ball, dribbling. He's got good numbers for all of it. Just, again, a good solid backup. That's all I want. And I deliberately picked players who were of lesser quality for my backups, because I want them to be okay being backups, and I want it to be obvious to the assistant manager who the backups are. So anyway, that's the video. That's all I'm going to do today. We're going to have a quick peek at tactics. I believe this is my tactic, although I'm going to change it somewhat. This is not my tactic. Where is my tactic? Load. No, I don't have it over here yet. Okay, never mind. I haven't brought it over from the other side, but that is basically our formation. The roles will change completely. There certainly will not be an AP and a DLP, but we'll work it out and get the roles set so that hopefully the right players will end up in the right places. But they're also versatile. It doesn't really matter hugely how they organize themselves. I think it's going to be, I think they're going to be a powerful unit anyway. And as I said, they all speak Spanish. They're all close in age to each other, and they've all got fairly good personalities. So I'm quite optimistic. That's the word. Of how I think I can do this season. But we're gonna see. You never know. Football's a funny game. And maybe my attempt to get the dynamics rolling won't work. There's lots of ways it could go wrong. Oh gosh, this has turned into something very long. I'm gonna see about cutting it down a little bit. But there you go. There's my introduction, my squad, my thinking, and the league. And I hope you enjoy the video, and I hope you don't mind dropping a like, and that you'll follow along as we do this. I intend to publish highlight packages of every game, so that'll probably be on average about 2 games a week. So you can expect about 2 posts a week from me about this. And of course a post from ObliqueKickGaming on his channel, and all the other creators will be blogging or videoing or streaming about this. So I encourage you to pick up the others and follow along with this league. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Anyway, I hope you have a great day, and take care.